Excitement is building ahead of the first semifinal of the World Cup, which kicks off in just a few hours' time. The two top-ranked teams in the world will face off against each other in Dallas, Texas, with France taking on Spain. French fans are feeling extra confident as today is their national holiday, Bastille Day. The Spanish coach has described the blockbuster clash as, quote, the final before the final. So let's get straight now to where all of that sports action is. DW sport reporter Danya Barsalona is in Dallas for the game between the two top-ranked teams, France and Spain, who will compete tonight. So, this is the biggest match of the World Cup so far. What is the atmosphere like ahead of this clash?
Yeah, so in Dallas here, there's a very big football mood, let's say. We got here last night, and we could already see lots of France fans, lots of Spain fans really just taking in the atmosphere because especially the game is in Texas. It's a very different vibe here. So a lot of French fans, a lot of Spanish fans learning about the culture in Texas, having some barbecue, wearing cowboy hats. But we talked to a lot of fans, and they're not actually that nervous, either set of fans. They're more excited for this match. Actually, right close to where we're standing here, there's the French hotel. All the streets are closed off. There's already a large number of fans outside. They're hoping to catch a glimpse of some of the players, of anyone, actually, before the game. We talked to some fans just now from Spain. They're really excited tonight, and Spain looking to nip France. Obviously, France looking to get revenge on Spain. So we can definitely expect a fantastic match and a really good atmosphere because a lot are going to the game.
And the teams, they have a lot of history playing each other. They both say that the other team is the favorite. What do you think?
I think neither one of them are wrong because this game is very, very close. It's actually too close to call. So France against Spain, the last couple of times they played against each other in major games, Spain actually got the better of them in the Euro 2004, in the Nations League. So they know that they can beat France. Now, that being said, France is on the verge of something historic. They could make their third final in the World Cup. It will be their fifth final in the last 8 tournaments. So very dominant, a very dominant era of football, especially in the World Cup. Now, heading into this match, we know that these are two teams that have different approaches to the games, let's say. So Spain is a team that they work very well as a unit. They're very cohesive. They like to possess the ball. They break teams down. And also, if you have the ball, you can't get scored on. Now, France, they've really grown since they lost in the Euros to Spain. And what they can do is they can actually be a little bit comfortable without the ball because they know they have the individual quality in their attack, especially, to be able to change games in an instant. Kylian Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, 3 players who nobody wants to play against. And they know, even if we don't have the ball for a bit, in a split second, we can win the game in a decisive moment. So both of these teams taking a very different approach to the game, but it's very, very close, very, very difficult to call. And I think the French fans, of course, they would like to have a win on their national holiday, but the Spain fans, they're hoping that they can make it 3 of 3 and beat France in the important games again.
Absolutely. Meantime, the home nations are all out. And the United States is not exactly typically a football country. In fact, Americans call it soccer. Is there still a lot of interest there among U.S. fans in the World Cup?
Yeah, there is a lot of interest. The thing that people don't notice is that America and Canada, of course, Mexico was definitely a footballing nation before this and will be for a long time. But North America, in terms of Canada and the U.S., weren't really footballing nations outwardly. So in both of these countries, there's a lot of immigrants, there's a lot of diaspora communities, there's a lot of people who really love football. My parents, for example, they came from Italy. All the children of immigrants who really grew up loving football but didn't have a chance to see it in the media. It wasn't really accessible on TV. There was no social media where you could follow your favorite stars. But now, having the World Cup in this country, it's made people be able to almost touch football with their hands, and it's gotten people really behind it because Americans who maybe weren't so into football, they've seen the atmosphere that European, South American, African fans create when there's football matches, and they've really gotten inspired by it. And also nowadays with social media, they can follow their favorite players like a Kylian Mbappe or Michael Olise. So it really has brought football a lot closer to this country. country. Of course, it's very difficult to compete with the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, but I think that this World Cup has definitely been that spark that America needed to realize, hey, wow, this is actually really a great sport. The rest of the world loves it, and there's room in America because it's a massive country for all of these sports.
And we also have to say, Danya, let us not forget that the women's team in the United States often one of the strongest on the global stage. So certainly an appetite there as well. Danya Barsalona joining us from Dallas. Thank you so much.